Cool. If it happens again, I'll go again. And
okay. Yep, everybody. In the workshop, this is Alisha Rayne doing the first Saturday workshop of 2021. We have some very cool comics coming with some very hot topics, some hot takes on these topics. The first one, I'm going to introduce you to Luke Lindale. He's got a fun show called Luke Lindale Does Your Joke. That's coming up on Monday, I believe. We'll get more information from him. And his topic is actually tragedy. So let's see what he does with that. Luke.
All right.
Take it away.
Hey, all right. So, yeah, let me start off. So, tragedy. I guess the first thing that came to mind was, 2020 was tragic. I'll say this. I'll say, let's be more respectful in 2021, right? Like, when 2020 started, 2020 was going to be so cool, right? We could say 2020 all the time. We could do things in 2020 and then in the future talk about how it happened in 2020 because it's cool to say 2020, So far in this bit, I've already said 2020 8 times and I'm way cooler now than when I started, you know what I mean? Because it's cool to say that. And you know what? We started the year with all those 2020 jokes about that new show on TV, with Barbara Walters, right? We all made the 2020 eyesight jokes. Those were hilarious, right? We made the hindsight 2020 joke. Most of us don't even know what hindsight means. What does hindsight mean? No one knows, but we did that joke because it's clever to say 2020. And then we were always so clever, right? We laughed and laughed, and then we also were like, hey man, every month next month, there's going to be a 420. We can get hammered on 420. Like we can smoke up. We can get, every month is 420. We thought it's hilarious. It's going to be amazing, And then 2020 had a bigger joke, a joke that nobody liked. The joke was on us, 2020 told us to go fuck ourselves, and we all got fucked. That's what happened, right? So let's, please go into 2021. Let's not be so clever with the year jokes, right? Let's have more respect. Let's not make the inevitable. It could be worse than 2020. Like it could be. We don't want it to. All right. I hope you enjoyed my 2020 jokes and all your, I hope you enjoyed all your repartee of 2020 jokes, right? And but let's not piss off the universe again, right? The pandemic is real, and the year, let's not make fun of it. That's what I learned in 2020. I wish I knew that back in 2020 for New Year's Eve, but like they say, hindsight is 2020. Fuck, I can't get away from it. Fuck. You know what? It's so fun to do that. You know what I mean? It's just fun, right? Everyone loves it, right? Anyways, because you can't say hindsight is 2021. That's just silly. All right. The next thing I wanted to talk about is what's the next tragic thing I want to talk about? Yeah, the next tragic thing is, so this is a bit tragic. I don't know if you guys have this, but being married, right? Like that's not easy, right? And you got to get along with the other person, right? And all their oddities. What's amazing to me is what the other person will find annoying with you. Okay, my wife's biggest beef with me, she's upset because I'm a sound sleeper. Yeah, that's her issue. The soundness of my sleep. One night, 2 years ago, my wife decided in the middle of the night she was thirsty. So she gets up, okay? And on her way downstairs in the dark, she stumbled down the stairs. She stumbled all the way down, making apparently lots of noise, yelling and screaming. And as she lay at the bottom of the stairs in pain, she was upset because I was sleeping soundly. I was doing nothing. Sleeping soundly, like that's a gift. That's a great thing. People go to hospitals to learn how to sleep. Like, how is this a bad thing? Do you know what I mean? I said to my wife as a joke, I don't know if you guys know this, but a walrus can stay up for 84 hours. That's amazing. I said to my wife, I said, wouldn't you love it if I was a walrus? Like, would that make you happy? And she said, yes. I want you to be more like a walrus. I was only kidding. She was like, no, that's what I want you to be. Be more like a walrus, Jesus Christ, And the thing is that, when you find the person that you love, right? Like you can never imagine that sleeping soundly, like that could ever be a contentious issue. I can only say like that I hope that as we continue to be married, the only thing I can hope for is I develop sleep apnea or that I develop some sleep disorder so our relationship doesn't go sour. Anyways, that's all my stuff on tragedy.
Cool.
All right.
Cool.
Woo! Very cool. All right. Some good stuff there. Yeah, so the 2020 hindsight, all that stuff's fun. Covered that. I feel like just a little addition of knock on wood. Hopefully 2021's, not as bad, knock on wood.
Right.
Little phrase there. I feel like, you, with the sleeping, like you have to get a sleep disorder to make your marriage ordered.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Something like that. And then I was going to say maybe something with your, like, what was the word? It was what kind of sleeper are you?
Oh, sound sleeper.
A sound sleeper. I feel like, you can play on the word, like a sound sleeper or like a deep sleeper. And then you can play on either one of those words. What that play is, I don't know.
Sure.
And then you have a little bit of a walrus mustache. I don't know if you want to play on that. Elner, do you have any response? Any good feedback?
Yeah. I liked your animation, and you're using your tone, you're using your rhythm, you're switching that up. A couple of things. I know you had the callback again to the 2020. You can't say the 2021. Whatever changes before that. If you could say something in between, because I think like if there would be something in between, it would like you would forget about it, then you come back to it, and it would kind of bring back the fun. Another thing is just animate and stuff like that. I would love to see you animate your wife at the bottom of the stairs, like slowly getting stuff like, well,
Is it
sleeping? He's sleeping and help me.
Is it my internet or can?
Nah.
Okay.
I got kind of the beginning part of it, and then as it went on, I lost it.
I will switch to this to my phone. Basically, the second thing is I wanted to see you animate your wife at the bottom of the stairs.
Oh, okay.
Getting pissed off at you for sleeping soundly.
Okay. Yep.
Yep. Is she kind of like, I don't know, like some sort of arm waving hysteria kind of thing? I don't know. Just maybe that's too cliche. I don't know. All right.
Perfect. Thanks.
Is somebody's Facebook feed on? Because it's like echoing.
Echoing.
Yeah.
He's probably changing out his phone.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's probably what it is.
Yeah.
All right. And here he is again. All right. Visionary.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
Makes sense. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
That's
All
better.
right.
Yes,
This way,
for
get the
sure.
punching back. It's fine. Great. Okay.
All right. Well, we're gonna we got some good stuff from Elner, and we're gonna move on to Visionary Speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Vish, what you got going on for us?
Oh, am I doing feedback or am I doing my
You're gonna give Luke feedback if you have any for us.
Yes. Okay. Wonderful. You never do know with these computers. Sometimes you think you got a good signal and then you don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Luke, great topic. I think it was good with the flow of 2020 being a tragedy and everything. I think it's a way that you can make it, because when I heard the word tragedy, I automatically thought 2020, and you went exactly where I thought you were gonna go. So I think that if there's a way to do that and still be, make it different than the things that we already know is coming, make a flip to the tragedy. Maybe talk about some of the tragedies that aren't really thought of in 2020 that we missed out on. Some of those things. So it's like, Jesus, I miss, being able to caress somebody's ear or, something weird.
Yeah.
I miss being able to lick random cats. This is crazy that we have to live like this. Things that wouldn't normally be like a tragedy, but maybe they were a tragedy to you because you can't do them anymore. So that'd be cool. I was trying to find a play on words for Alisha, and sleeping soundly, and the fact that he couldn't hear a sound. It's kind of like a little bit of a play because you couldn't even hear somebody falling down the stairs. That's the sound that sleeping soundly keeps you from, which is good. But overall good. I think good transitions. Just make it different, make it unique, make it like, oh, I didn't think he was going that way.
Okay, perfect. Great, thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. Very good. Gonna go ahead and take it back to the big vision. Elner, we're gonna go on to Elner next. He's new to the comedy scene, but he is hilarious, I think. And his topic is banquets. So let's hear it for Elner. Woo!
Yeah. So banquets. Yes, banquets are those big, nice places where you have all the great events. It's also one of only 3 places where I actually quit. I'm 33. I had over 36 jobs, and I've quit 3 times. One of those times was a banquet. And the reason I quit was because it was my birthday that I started this job on my birthday. And I was washing dishes at this place. So it's 5:30 in the morning. Since 5:30 in the morning till about halfway through the day, I was washing dishes at this place. And I'm like 17. I don't really know what I'm doing. So I go over, and after my job washing dishes, I go to this banquet hall. Now they give you these giant trays to fill. And I'm like, I'm a bigger dude now, but at the time I wasn't. So these trays are heavy, and I'm like feeling like a bitch. And I'm like, you know what? It's my birthday. I've already been through a day of washing dishes. Fuck this. I'm leaving. Now, I don't know if you've ever had a job that you hate so much that you would think like, damn, I hope this place would burn down. This wasn't that bad. And turns out that when you do have that job, and that case does happen, which that for some reason happened to me. I was working at a car dealership, and my coworker decided after cleaning a car that he found a lighter to throw the lighter in the dumpster, but light it up before. And I go outside and I see this plume of smoke, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what's happening. And I turn around and I see the plume of smoke is coming from the building I just stepped out of. I run in where the car is, and I see right next to the gas tank a big giant trash can burning. And I'm like, whoa, great. So this car's about to blow up with me and everything in it. So it turns out that when your place you work at is on fire, I'm the kind of person to go around and turn it out, unfortunately. But basically, this is one of only a couple of jobs I quit. And I normally take like my job seriously. I like even the washing dishes thing. I did that like clean, like I was the one that would clean everything all the way, all the extra stuff. Like I'm that person when the coworkers would be like, stop making us look bad. Stop. We want to kind of take it easy. This is because I was at the time 17 and I was a retard. So I didn't know that you're supposed to go with the flow. But one thing I did not like about that job is like my manager, like the owner of the place would call me at like 2 a.m. in the morning when he was closing down to let me know that you have to come in at this amount of time, basically at 6 or 7 the next morning. So basically when he was closing down his restaurant, he would tell me after closing down, he would call me. And I learned that there's a psychological trick to us. When you get a repetition of something that super annoys you, so imagine this, you're going to sleep and just as about to doze off, you hear, come on, Eileen, which was my ringtone at the time, which was extremely annoying. So I got conditioned like a dog, like Pavlov's dogs, to hate come on, Eileen. And now, like 20 years later, I do a reversal. So this is a trick for you if you want to have a significant other or somebody that you like talking to, just enjoy a conversation with them. set a ringtone that will make you think of them or something funny, so you can just jump into a fun conversation. So this is something I enjoy doing. And what else do I have this? Yes, I'm hoping I'm not making a bad first impression, but this can't be the worst first impression that I've ever made, because the worst first impression I've ever made was when I was in boot camp. And in boot camp, there's a short commodity, a very rare commodity that's called medics. You don't have medic access for any reason, because there's 100 more of you and none of you matter. So this is what you kind of go through. So at some point in boot camp, they gave us medics. Oddly, I met this medic as we're all in the showers butt naked. And my first question to this guy is, hey, dude, I don't even know your name, but I'm bleeding from my ass. Is this a bad thing?
What?
So that ended up not being the best first impression, but it's not the worst. We ended up turning friends. We called him the sheep because of his hair, but ended up not being a problem. Not the first impression and not the other issue. So that's all I have for banquet.
All right.
All right. Woo! Elner, good stuff. All right.
Banquet. Hello.
See, Luke, that's what I mean. You just go a whole different way.
Yeah, it was different, all right.
It went a different way.
Yeah, for sure. It was good though. I kind of wanted you, because you were like making a big deal about your first job. How you're like, I was carrying all these things and it was so heavy, and I decided to go out with a bang and just threw all the plates on the ground. Like I felt like that. All that kind of description was leading to like a bigger, like I quit scenario.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I guess just like, start big and then go bigger, especially when you have like this expressive description. The fact that your other job was a dumpster fire and you put out the dumpster fire, I think is kind of interesting. I think maybe just focus on that a little bit.
Yes.
And then the ringtone, sky's the limit with your ringtone. Like my mom, has this ringtone. My cousin has this ringtone. Any ringtone you can think of. You've got punchlines galore.
That's right.
For that. So, yeah. And then I would say, it's not my best first impression, and then the story, but now we're best friends.
Yeah.
I think just kind of putting a button at the end of it would make it actually punch a little bit harder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of all I have. Luke, you got any notes for our friend?
Sure. So first off, I felt that it was very stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
So I felt that, and I can understand. You're probably just you got a word, so you're just kind of doing whatever. But at the same time, it made it difficult, I think, a little bit to understand kind of what you were talking about. It felt like you were searching for something, and maybe you haven't written a lot of stuff, so I can understand that. Because it started off, you were talking about this idea, and I thought that was an interesting idea, which was your first one, which was that, well, maybe it was the second idea, but it was something to do with the idea that you had a job and that the reason you quit it is because you started on your birthday. But I never found out why that kind of mattered. Like, why did that make you want to quit it on, like, because you, and then I think that, but ironically for me, the more interesting part is like, well, then why would you start on your birthday? Like, do you know what I mean? Like if it's such a bad idea of yours. So I feel like there's something to lean into that. I feel like the whole time I kind of wanted to know more about your truth. I felt like what you were trying to do was trying to find what people might find funny, if that makes sense. Like, so for example, when you said you wanted, because at one point you said, "Oh, have you ever worked at a place where you kind of wanted to burn down the burned place down?" But oh yeah, it was kind of like that. It's stronger to say, "I worked at a place and I wanted to burn it down. I brought gasoline there." Or I don't like, you can exaggerate that part. You know what I mean? Like, I was there in the back with kerosene or whatever. Right? Like, you were actually going to do it potentially, and maybe like, and to give yourself like to also to explain why it was so bad, because if you're just a guy who wants to just like light a place on fire, you're the jerk. But if the people there are complete jerks to you, then it gives you a license to do that. Like, what did they do to you that was so awful? I felt like you jumped to the car wash thing. I didn't get that part. Kind of, it just felt like you just kind of jumped. I think you were trying to say like that's another job or something, and then the place was on fire. I did write here retard. I mean, you know, I mean, I think that's a little bit of a risky word, right? But whatever. Not to say that people don't use it, but and then the medics thing, like I felt like that kind of just jumped there. I wasn't really. I mean, obviously, I think everyone perked up when you said you had blood coming out your ass or something, or wherever you put it. I mean, it sort of like was shocking, like not in the sense like it's like, oh my god, I can't believe what I'm hearing, but it was more shocking in the sense of like, I don't understand the context of what that had to do with what came before it. It was more in that sense, you know, shocking. But yeah, I think the whole idea of, and because it turned into sort of like a list of jobs, right? And so I think maybe more it was like, hey, I'm not good at keeping a job, man. Like I do it. Like, let me tell you some of my experiences, you know, like maybe that's the sort of like the opening to it, because that's what it kind of turned into. Those are my comments.
Yeah, a stronger like introduction to this stream of consciousness would actually make it easier for us to follow the story too. So just having that strong introduction, I totally agree, is really, really good. Visionary, what do you got for Elner?
Yes. So Elner, I agree with everything Luke said, you know, with just finding that I think you need to find your specific style, because if I heard correctly, you're a new comic as well, right? Awesome. So we in here, new comics, wah. But I think it's just finding that comedic style, studying comics. That's what I do. You know, since I've started in comedy, I started to study other comic style, and not to replicate it, but I wanted to see how they hit their jokes. So just knowing, like, you don't have to be a jokey joke person. Some people just tell jokes, and that's how their set goes. It's just joke. Some people are storytellers. Like Dave Chappelle is a storyteller, and it's funny. So the jokes come out of his stories. So if you're going to be a storyteller, you just have to make the story interesting enough for the person to want to come along with you. And they can't feel like Luke felt and I felt, where you get left somewhere. You have to ride the wave of the story, and then funny things happened in the story. But if you're a joke person, it has a start to the joke and a finish, and you know where it's going to come, you know, that thing. So just listening to like joke structure, and I think you'll find your way. You'll figure out what type of joke, you know, what kind of comedian you are, through just learning what type of structure you have. One of the things that I wrote down was similar to what Luke said, to just change. It's not what you're saying, it's how you're saying it. You know, if you say it in a way that kind of brings it together or puts some kind of foundation on it, it sounds better. So I wrote down, there are a few things that I wanted to burn down. You know, one of them started, no. This is what I wrote. There are a few times I wanted to burn down a building. Here's one of the few, you know, and then you can say, I worked at a banquet hall and da-da-da-da. You could talk about your experiences there. And, you know, I could have burned the place down immediately. Next story. Like, you kind of lead them like, okay, now next. This is another thing I wanted to burn down. So, like he said, bleeding from the ass, those type of retard, they're keywords.
Yeah,
so people hear them and they're like, what was that? But when you get their attention again, you got to take them somewhere, because you already are bringing them back by, you can say words like that. I'm not a, you know, PC culture comic, but just, it has to be funny. That's it. If you could say a lot of crazy things, and you decide if you want to get in trouble on that or not, but it just has to be funny. So I think just adding more jokes.
Cool.
All right. I think we got a lot of good feedback for Elner. Visionary, Viz.
I love hearing people come up with like abbreviations to my name because it's an alias. So like people call me, you the first person who said Viz, and then I've had Vision before and things. However you guys want to, VS. However you want to do it. I know it's a long name, but that's how you get them to work for it, baby.
All right. Well, yep, you have collaboration. So let's hear it.
Let's get it. Okay. So collaboration is something we all love, right? We love a good collaboration. We got Missy and Timbaland, Ariana and Lady Gaga, Gladys Knight and the Pips, Hall and Oates. Just good collaborative people and good collaborations. But in 2020, I suffered a loss of one of the greatest collaborations in my life. And I just want to tell you guys about it really quickly. It just gets me so choked up about it. So let me just be able to get out what I have to say. But so I was getting out of the shower yesterday. And I usually don't do this, but I looked in the mirror. And let me tell you why I don't usually do this. Because, I don't fuck with fake news. So I don't look in the mirror in 2020 because it's all fake. Okay? Nobody's telling the truth on that mirror. But I did today. I looked at that mirror and I saw that one of my... So sorry, you guys. One of my titties was bigger than the other. I couldn't believe it, because they have been the best collaboration I've ever had. Is this the alignment of my titties? They were so together. They had so many good hits, okay? And I can't believe that. And the thing that baffles me is, folks, I don't know what was the cause, okay? I don't know if one just wanted to become a shiner in 2020 and wanted to do, take over and be great by itself and go from an F to a G. I don't know if the other one was just quarantine depressed and decided to go a cup size lower because of the depression of 2020. I don't know what happened to them. All I know is that they are not in alignment, okay? And I need them to come together and be collaborative once more. I just think of all the good moments we shared. We had so many hits, y'all. I just got to go over a few. You probably heard of some of them. 2009 slutty baseball player costume. Okay. It was a great year for titties. I mean, my titties were sitting up right in that baseball player costume, okay? I turned multiple heads in my college party. It was amazing. It was astounding. In the waist, you can forget about it. It was not there. I don't know where that waist went, but it gained a lot of friends. Another hit that you may have heard of, it was really B-track hits. Jamaican Rooftop Party of 2013, baby. Oh, yes. My titties was sitting right. We was out here parting the river. They was all together. They were working as one. It was a good time to be alive. Great titty atmosphere. And they were doing the damn thing at that Jamaican Rooftop Party. That was one of my greatest hits. It's just so sad to think about it now. And the most recent one, of course, is my 10-19-19 wedding extravaganza. Okay? The titties were in the building. All right? They made that wedding dress, honey. The dress was the tits were the dress. They were up, they were alive, they were ready, they were giving you life, they were giving me life, they were hits at this party. They were hits at this party. And I was so happy to be there. I mean, nobody in the building could touch my titties, literally, except for my husband. It was great, but in 2021, I'm just gonna say this. We need to get back to making these hits, baby. I don't know what's going on with my titties, but they need to get it together. They need to get back in alignment. They need to get back in collaboration. Either one got to go up or another one got to come down so we can meet and be together and work in harmony. They need to synchronize so we can make beautiful music, because in 2021, folks, I am trying to go double platinum, okay? Double platinum, all right? We can't do it if the titties don't work together. Collaboration. Thank you.
Nice. Very
All
nice.
right, visionary.
I can't clap because I'm holding the phone. I'm clapping.
Some funny stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Some kind of COVID clap.
Yes. Yeah, so some good stuff. I thought maybe your comparison to one of them wanting to be a star shining could be like a Beyonce Destiny's Child kind of thing. And then you were like, you know, they need to get back into alignment, maybe like the stars align, like a horoscope, kind of, you know, the Capricorn or the Gemini, you know, something like that. And then you're like, in the year 2021, I feel like there's also could be a Chinese New Year riff there, being the year of the whatever, kind of going into that. And then just a couple of things that I kind of popped for me in like a good way was like, okay, folks, like, you know, this attention getting kind of thing. And then you're like, it's sad to think about it now. Like we're just kind of extra funny, like personality things. So I think those were really good. So I just kind of spit all my notes out there. Luke, you got any notes?
Yep. First off, I liked it. Very funny. I thought at the beginning you could catch people. I thought you did a really great job of like I think maybe you did 4. I didn't count them. You know, when you're comparing the kind of musical ones.
All the notes.
Yeah. I thought the third one could have been bricks and mortar. You know what I mean? Like something completely that you go together. Like caulking in bathrooms, or I don't know, whatever. Something that go together but are not the musical things.
Okay.
I thought that it's interesting. You know, as soon as you mentioned the business of having one bigger than the other, the thought that came to my mind, it was like, you don't know that? Like, geez, I've known that for a long time. You know what I mean? Like, I've known that, like, and I don't know. I mean, I just assumed that all women knew that about themselves. Like, I mean, I just always learned that. Like, so I think that you lose a little bit of credibility on the fact that you just found out. You know what I mean?
No, it wasn't that I just found out. It was that one grew a whole cup size. That's different.
But then I think you need to say that then.
I think I say it at the end, but I'll bring it up a little earlier.
But I think you need to bring it right from the start. Because that sends the credibility of why you're like, whoa, you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? How am I supposed to do this? And then I think you could delve a little bit into, if you'd mentioned it, you could delve a little bit like, now I got to go buy bras, you know? Like, I know that you are positive, so, but you could delve a little bit into what the negative side of it is, you know what I mean? Like, I gotta cut bras. Like, what am I doing? You know, like, I don't, like, when I go to Victoria's Secret, like, I've looked online. They don't have bras like that, you know. Like they don't have like, you know, big and small, left and right, like, you know, or whatever, right? Like I think you could play with that, if like, and I think that makes it more credible off the top. I think that also the thing is that the other thing that came to mind is that when you have a collab, right, like a collaboration, like when they talk about things that work well, is that those people they complement each other. So they're not the same, right? So it's almost as if you could be like, maybe it's like, oh, I enjoyed the collab when it was like one was a little bit bigger. That was okay, but you know what I mean? It wasn't like it's not Hall and Oates and Hall is a person and Oates is a dinosaur. Like that's like it's not that far apart, right? Because I think that's the point you're making. Like if it's a little bit like, then it's it can complement each other. But if it's so far apart, then of course it doesn't make any sense. So I think maybe you could touch on that part. Also, I thought that you could mention Dolly Parton, because when people think about big titties, I mean, she's the queen. So I think you could be like, hey man, look at Dolly Parton. The only reason she's still relevant, you know, because that's a great fucking collab. Like, have you seen her titties? Come on, like that's a collab, you know.
They've been working together for years.
Exactly. And the thing is, and I think that I think at the end, I think it's good for you to talk about. Oh, sorry, I wanted to make the comment about the favorite hits. I think that I understand you're exaggerating, but exaggerating to the point of saying that we might have heard we wouldn't have. You know what I mean? Like, it's obviously no.
Oh, no, they were viral.
No, but you can't. but you can see that they were yours. You know, my favorite hits or my husband's favorite hits. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if that part is more credible, and then you exaggerate, I feel like that would hit a little bit better. And then at the end, I think that when you were kind of talking about, I think you should talk about like your solution, and my New Year's resolution is this. You know, I got to find a plastic surgeon who's able to bring down like half a cup size or something, or I don't know. I've done some research, or I'm eating more peas, or I don't know, whatever. You know, I don't know, whatever it might be. Like you have some New Year's resolution to try and make one smaller. You're doing exercise on one side. Is that what you're doing? I don't know. You're doing something, you know.
I feel like, you know, kind of to touch on what Luke said, you know, my greatest hits were this, and then you might have heard of them. It went viral, like you might have heard of this one or whatever.
Yeah.
So just to kind of touch on that. All right, I interrupted you, Luke. Did you have any other notes?
I was good. That was it.
All right.
I like it.
All right, Elner, did you have any notes?
Yes. So you started strong with like hitters like Missy Elliott and Timberland. Like, you brought it right away. So I thought you were gonna stay on the music theme. So I thought, you know, after the Mirrors fake news, you can be like, they used to be a duet. Now one just started a solo career. They want to grow and grow. Want to become a diva and having their own snacks in the green room. All this kind of, you know, just going in that direction.
That's kind of funny. The diva with their own snacks. That's funny.
Yeah, and then just going off of that. Yeah, with going viral, I'm just gonna skip that. And then on Luke's, just adding on Luke's stuff. No, before even, well, yeah, with Dolly Parton, like, you can just go like, well, this is how she grew a career. Like, one kept growing, but she found out how to grow the other one, and she just kept doing that side to side, and just that's how. But that was just on Luke's thing, just as he was talking. And then, yeah, like, now I have to stuff one side of the bra. I never had to do that before. Just going, yeah, those are the things I had to add.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Very good. Visionary, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to do mine. Mine was hooks. It's going to be kind of short. And so hooks, I was thinking about Peter Pan Captain Hook. And so this is my impression of Captain Hook. My stump aches a little, and that's how I know when the rain's coming. Okay, that was my impression of Captain Hook. This is my impression of Tinkerbell. He swears that he is just friends with Wendy. Okay, that is my impression of Tinkerbell. Okay, this is my impression of Peter Pan. I don't know why people keep on calling them tights. That was my impression of Peter Pan. Yeah, so for hooks, also crocheting. When I was little, my grandma and all of her friends and all of her sisters and stuff, they had this interactive crocheted duck, and it had a little hole on the back end, and you would squeeze it, and a little black jelly bean would come out of the butt of this crocheted duck. And I feel like you can have other types of interactive little like figures. You know, you can have even different colored jelly beans, you know, like red for that time of the month, or like you could have green coming out of something's nose for boogers. It's endless, the possibilities. Yeah, so for hooks, I was also thinking about like rap songs. Like they have the hook in the rap song, and so I thought like you know, for general like elementary school, like I before E except after C, like you can just have like a hook for those type of things. Guys, I was kind of coming up short on the hooks, but that is okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of all I had for hooks. So, yep, I do those impressions all the time. And so if you have any response to those are what I like to do. So if you have any response, that's great.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Cool. My initial thought for hooks went to like boxing hooks, like hooks when you do in boxing. So you can use that, and you can actually keep using that throughout, even, and just keep punching the characters as you're doing them if you want to keep doing the characters. With the captain hook, like being super dangerous with the just hooking with the hook, and then like fishing hooks and stuff like that, going with the duck. For some reason, it connects in my head, just outdoors and ducks and fishing. I don't know if there's probably nothing there, but you can probably get to something. Yeah, that was it.
All right.
So for me, I have a question. Were you trying? All the impressions were the same, like it was the same voice. Was that purposefully done?
Yeah. My impressions are terrible. But poignant. So
I think that I got the joke, but I feel like it was a little too subtle. I think at off the top you could play it up a little bit, you know, be like, hey man, I've been practicing doing some impressions, you know, like I love the movie Captain Hook, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Let me do one for you now. And then of course the first two kind of fall flat. And I think before the third one, then you would play it up again and be like, listen, I know the first two weren't that great, but this one here, this is my big sort of closer. You know what I mean? Like this is the one where I've really practiced it. Anyways. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think you need to play it up a little bit more. So that was one thing. I thought that, so the crochet duck, what I thought was interesting, is that it's such a weird thing, and that you were not weirded out by it. So that made, to me, you really weird. Do you understand what I mean? Like you were okay with that idea? Like you don't have a response to that? You don't react to that? Like you're okay with that? Like that's super weird. You know what I mean?
It is. I grew up with it. Like it was in my house.
You're an adult. Like I just think that, I don't know, to me, there's an opportunity to be like, or you liked it, right? Like I feel like in the things that you talked about, there was no sort of like point of view in a way. Like in simplistically, like, you know, you liked it or didn't like it, right? Like that kind of thing. Or like you found it weird or whatever. Like I think the crochet duck thing is an opportunity. Like it's just right there. Like it's so weird. Because then when you go on to talk about there could be other things, because if you liked that, then you'd be like, yeah, it'd be amazing. You know what I mean? Like you could have things coming out of all kinds of butts. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of a little
all kinds of holes. That'd be crazy, right? Out of your nose. It would be green jelly beans for boogers.
Well, exactly. And maybe you want to get your mother's attention, so you're trying to make that happen for her, you know? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like whatever, right? Yeah, those are my comments.
Okay. Thanks. Visionary, do you have anything? I did not
Yes.
give people very much to work with, and that's okay.
It's fine. I like people who know where they're at and what kind of joke it is, which is like leaning into the fact that this is just a simple joke, you know. So I appreciate that you knew it wasn't a good impression. It's like South Park when they put up the disclaimer and they're like, this isn't going to sound like anybody we're trying to sound like. These are going to be all fake and they're going to be terrible. I love that. So I think you could set it up a little bit more, or you could add more anticipation. Like, this is about to be the best impression you ever heard in your life. You know, just get yourself ready, you know, strap down, guys, because here it comes. This is Captain Hook. And then just like, you know, really play, because then people will be like, what? You know, so I think just keep playing on that. Like he said, find the voice, whatever the voice is, and the joke, and where we're going with it. I think that would be good. But I do like the idea of just jokes, short jokes, you know, short jokes and cuts. I like that when it's just like, this is what this is, and bye. This is what this is, and I'm gone. And the next one, and I left you. Okay, you know, so I like that idea of that style of joking. You can even use a notepad on stage when you do that. You're like, this is Captain Hook. And that's the jokes and the actual prop of it all. So yeah. Or you can even read it. Like, this is my rendition of Captain Hook. You know, really get into it. So, you know, just make it a part of like a whole story.
Little bit of improv there.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for giving me some feedback on that very, very short little set I did there for that. But I appreciate it. All right, round 2. Luke Lindale, you ready for your round 2?
I am.
All right.
All right. So I wanted to talk about, you know, when I drive, I'm a honker, right? I love honking. I honk so much that when I drive, people think I'm a fire truck coming down the road. And I just love the attention, right? And I love the response of the onlookers, and I just wave at them like I'm a grand marshal in a Santa parade. Just coming through. Nice to see everyone. I'll be back here tomorrow. You know, and I love being called a honky. Boy, that's great. When I'm test driving a car, when I go in there, I'm testing the horn. You know, they always and you know, they get you. You come back from the test drive and they're like, "Hey, how'd you like the car? Little light on the horn. Little light on the horn. Needs more of a horn." Okay, I'm looking for like a regular car with a horn from a 16-wheeler. That's the kind of horn I'm looking for, okay? I don't know if you guys know this, but in a regular conversation, decibels is around 60 decibels. Firecrackers, it's around 150 decibels. That's what I'm looking for, okay? I'm looking for, like, if people aren't diving for cover when I'm honking my horn, then that's not good. I'm not happy with that. And I don't just even honk at cars, okay? I'll honk at anybody. I'll honk at pedestrians. I honked at a baby in a stroller last week because I didn't like the look of that baby's face. Like, come on, man. Get a better face on you, baby. Like, what? I don't get it, you know? The other thing, too, is I don't get the honking haters. You know those people? They're like, oh, my God. Like, oh, you're using your horn. Hey, man, you have a horn. You're supposed to use it. You know, it's like an elephant. An elephant has a horn. Be so silly. A clown has a horn. A porn star has a horn. You got to use your horn. If you got a fucking horn, use it, you know? So this is the next thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about, you know, I don't think I've ever read fine print in a contract. You know, the fine print is the legal jargon in a contract. The size of the fine print should be illegal, but lawyers approve the size. That's why I couldn't get into law school. My eyesight wasn't good enough. You know, I signed a contract once to rent an apartment, and the afterwards they told me that apparently I signed to say that I wasn't allowed to have a mouse as a pet. The mouse is the only one who could read it. Like, I can't even read the stuff, you know? The landlord asked me, have you read the fine print? I can't find the fine print. You know, why don't you write whatever you're writing on a window of a car outside? That would be easier to read, you know? Or why don't you write it in the bowels of a fucking donkey? I can't read it there either. You know, at my last optometrist appointment, you know, I couldn't read the last line of the eye test. That's fine print. I'm not fine with that. That's too small. The fine print for normal people is like, that would be like, you know, if you were in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, if you were in that movie, I would love to be in that movie. Because then eventually I could read the terms in my fucking mortgage. Like I don't even know what the terms are. And the thing is like, you know, are you meant to read the fine print because it's important? Like, you know, do the authors of the fine print actually expect people like to be carrying like a magnifying glass, like from Sherlock Holmes? Is that what they're expecting me to do? I'm sorry, but I don't carry a loop. I don't carry a loop with me. You know, I'm not a stamp collector checking the authenticity of World War II stamps. I'm here to buy a fridge. That's it. You know, and like, you know, I'm just happy that the authors of the fine print, that they don't actually author menus in restaurants. Oh yeah, I'll have the burger like last time. Oh, and for dessert, yeah, I'll have the short squiggly line at the third from the bottom there. I have no idea what it fucking says because I can't read it, you know? All right, last thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about, you know, lately I've been trying to overcome my anxiety when it calls to calling customer service at the bank. Calling customer service at the bank is as much fun as John Bobbitt had when his wife, Lorena Bobbitt, severed his dick in 1993. No fun. You know, I hate calling at the bank so much, the customer service, that once I noticed an incorrect charge on my Visa statement for $42 for an application by Adobe, okay? Instead of calling customer service at the bank, I prefer to pay that monthly charge for 3 years, 38 months to be exact, okay? I paid $1,596 in error instead of calling customer at the bank. And I was happy with the result. And I would do it again. You know, that's how much I hate calling the fucking customer service at the bank. You know what I don't like too is that you call there and they always tell you, we're changing the menu. We just changed our menu. Please listen to the entire menu. I called 20 minutes ago. You didn't change the menu. You didn't. You know, one time I called the customer service at the bank. I called 3 days in a row. And every time I called, they told me they had changed the menu. They didn't. They're liars. And then also, why is the call volume always an issue, eh? We are experiencing higher than expected call volume. Why are they always experiencing higher than expected call volume? Is call volume multiplying? Is the call volume having sex with other call volume? Is there call volume fucking happening? Is that the problem? Having call volume babies? Like, what's going on? Get your call volume under control. Measure the call volume and then estimate the call volume. And I've got a tip. You know what? If you want to work at a bank, if you work at a bank and the call volume is completely getting out of hand, hire more people. Handle your call volume, you know? And whoever is responsible for estimating the call, you know, for estimating the amount of call volume, they must be an ancestor of the captain from the Titanic. Oh, there's no way that we're going to hit this iceberg. It doesn't have any volume. Oh, no, that iceberg has no volume. Oh, my God, that iceberg has more volume than expected. Careful. You know what I mean? Measure the volume. And you know what? My bank's customer service slogan is, we're committed to resolving your complaints. My complaints is your customer service. Anyways, that's it.
All right.
Nice
Thank
job.
you. All right. If somebody has some response. So the kind of horn, you're back to the horn honker. For me, it's just the kind of horn you would hear when, like, you're like, you know, if people hear this horn, they should look out. And before that, I feel like you could have the kind of horn you would hear when, a ship was about to hit another ship, or the kind of horn you would hear when, something crazy was happening and it was in a, that's the kind of horn I want in my VW Bug or whatever, something like that. So, that's it for the horn. And then the fine print. I thought the fine print on the menus was really good. And then like having the, your burger being completely wrong or whatever. And the waiter is like, well, that's in the fine print. Like that's a good time to get annoyed at fine print. Also, like, what are some other contract-based things that are sort of ridiculous that would have that fine print? Like selling your soul. It's already a crap deal, but there's even crappier deal in the fine print. Other sort of ridiculous contract things. So, yeah. So the calling the customer service is worse than Lorena Bobbitt. I feel like that's the third, like the rule of three would really apply here really well. Like the first one would be calling is worse than, the second one is like something else. And then the third one, calling is worse than having your dick cut off. Like that's very extreme. But I think having two more before that, I'll kind of make that a good punch.
Sure.
And then the call volume having sex is hilarious, like having children, the call volume, little babies, getting married, all that stuff. So I like that call volume, sexy call volume stuff. So yeah, that's kind of my notes. Elner, you got any notes for Luke?
Yes. Regarding first, I like the cadence. I like that you like the rhythm, right? I didn't catch a breath until like the baby stuff, so I didn't write anything up until before that. So at some point where the baby comes up, you get mad at it. Baby, be a man already, grow a beard, or grow up somewhat, right? What do I have here?
I did like that too. Hey, baby, get with it. Like that was pretty funny.
Yeah. Different clauses and different contracts, kind of like Alisha was saying, but also like, yeah, I signed this lease with my landlord, but now he can come in and steal my dinner or something like that. Like I didn't know like some stuff that you skipped in reading the contract. Yeah, with the bank, I totally understand. I don't know which bank you're in. I'm with Royal Bank, and they have an automated menu. So you have to talk to it like it's a person, but it can't hear you. So you can dive into that hole for a while.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like this is so silly. Press number 6 to go fuck yourself, like something like that.
Number 7, tell me now.
Yeah.
Yes. Another thing you said that whatever, we're here to resolve your complaint. Basically, you guys planned it, so I'll have complaints. Like you knew I was going to be complaining about this bullshit service that you have.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And then that there should be a skip button. Like you just dropped my call halfway through listening to this menu. Now I have to listen to the shit from the start again. You should have a skip button somewhere in there. Yeah, I think that that's everything I have.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right. Visionary, you got anything for Luke?
So the way my brain works is a little different, you guys. So I started writing jokes to the jokes. That's it. That's what I know. But I started out with the horn. And I love connecting jokes to other things in the world and other like known things. So for some reason, when I heard the horn jokes, I don't know if you've seen that episode of SNL from way back in the day when he was like, "You gotta have more of that cowbell." Like that. You never seen, like, it made me think of that, like, just more cowbell, more horn, more cowbell. So I love that. When you talked about being a honky, I thought it would be great to say, like, I even joined a support group. We're called the Hunkies. So that'd be good. Just like a hunky support group. And you can even talk about how one time you got into the wrong one and you became an alt-right. Wrong hunky support group. So I also said, so my horn went out one week. And usually when my horn goes out, I just use my voice and I yell at people out the window. But this week I lost my voice. So of course, like a rational person, I just had to take an Uber to make my noise. I needed somebody to be driving so I could put my ass out the window and use my ass horn. It's a little around the way joke, but yeah, I just love the idea of a mouth horn and then an ass horn. It's gradual step. You can just fart at people as you drive. Then I also put for fine print. The definition of fine print is you're gonna be fine with whatever's on here because you can't read the shit. That's the literal definition of fine print. And I just thought that it was good setup. I just thought that it just bring us home, like give us a collaborative callback ending to all the jokes. Bring it so it's not like, okay, and that was the last one. Just maybe do a callback or
you mean at the end of the three, you mean? Right.
Yeah, at the end of all the jokes, just to have an ending. You can, I don't know if you guys hear the honking out there. I gotta go. That's my ride. So something to bring it all together. But it was very good.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good. I was gonna add on to visionary support group, honky support group, that they tune, like the tuners that tune cars. They can fix your horn up to be like super crazy, and it's like support group of like horn mechanics.
Yeah. You can go anywhere with that support group.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much. Those are great notes.
All right, very good. I'm going to go ahead and bring up Elner next.
Cool.
I'm just going to hop out real quick. I will be right back, but it'll be 2 seconds. So you can, 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Everybody start counting.
Yeah.
1, 2.
She lied.
Well, we're gonna have it's like those YouTube skip seconds. Like you're gonna have skip in.
Exactly. You'll only be on hold for 2 seconds. Skip to when I'm talking to somebody right now.
You know that IT centers, they actually just they right away put you on hold and then they go get a coffee. They fuck off.
Oh my God. I hate that when you're trying to order food. When they hello, this is Domino's. Can I put you on hold? And they do not wait. They do not wait for you to say yes or no. They don't give a fuck what you think.
Boom.
You're going on hold.
Right in your face.
Like, what if I can't be on hold? What if I called you because somebody shot me and you were the last number I got?
Yeah. Or it's one of those rape emergency calls where you call a pizza to get a cup.
You were my redial, bitch. No, I can't be on hold.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm gonna write it down.
27 seconds.
Okay.
Exactly. We're running low here. 18 seconds past the 2 second deadline.
2 seconds. Right on time.
All right. Thanks, you guys. Sorry about that. All right, Elner, you ready to
hit
us?
Yeah, I'm gonna go on and talk to you about the fishing story and how I learned how to fish. So this was a while ago. I decided to go learn how to fish with a friend of mine from Israel. So we're two dudes that grew up in the city. We don't know fuck all about fishing, about anything, right? So I was working in the mountains in Alberta at the time, and I decided to borrow a fishing rod from this girl I used to work with. Nobody else could give me anything that I was useful, so I said, okay, whatever. why don't I borrow it from whoever knows how to fish? I asked around at work. I worked at a sawmill, and this girl named Christy said, yeah, sure, I'll lend you my stuff. So we're two grown men, right? We're riding around with a hot pink rod, kind of like your wall there, and also rod, like full tackle box, everything's pink. Every little thing is pink. And now we don't know anything about fishing, so we show up to the lake, beautiful lakes out in Alberta, whatever, and we decide to put everything on the rod. Now, if you guys never fished before, just to explain, you're supposed to research what kind of fish you're going to be having at the lake. You're going to match the bait to the fish, do this. There's different methods and all this kind of stuff. We don't know any of this. So we just bring around the rods, put the rocks on there, the weights on there, the live bait on there, the hooks on there, the little fake fish in there, everything on this thing. Of course, we throw it, and it obviously sinks to the bottom of the lake, right? The fish are down there looking at us. You guys are city people, aren't you? You don't know shit, right? So we're outside fighting each other. Now, we've done martial arts for a long time, so we're literally like beating each other up to like blood and pulp and stuff, and nothing's really working. So we go back to the campsite hungry, and at the campsite, there's like a bunch of people there, a bunch of families. It was like one of those joints. So everybody's like cooking their fish. All the dads are like setting it up for their families, about to feed their kids and stuff. And I'm out there opening tuna cans with my buddy. So this homeboy comes up and he's like, hey, you serve in the military. I'm like, how did you know? Because I had this little can opener and like I could do it really, really fast, because apparently that's how you do it, right? Yeah, you get cans in prison too, but they don't give you a shank to open them with. So mine was just a little fast. So turns out him and his dad taught us how to fish, how to do all this kind of stuff. No, you guys got to cast. If nothing comes back, and reel it back, and nothing comes back, you just cast again and keep casting until it comes back. We're like, awesome. Next day, we set up to our next destination, right? This little mountain, and there's like a river on the bottom. So we try our new skills, right? We cast the thing, and it comes up, and we get like fish that are about this big. They're tiny. But we're all happy. We're taking like Instagram pictures with the fish because we're gangster like that. We just got the fish, right? First time you get a fish, you wanna be proud about it, right? Even if it's a bullshit fish, right? So my fish stays on the rod, and I'm like, what happens if I throw this back again? Will it get me a big fish? Because I couldn't really take it out, so I threw it again. Went back in the water, reeled it back. It came back. Fish is still on the hook. Next time I threw it again, my cast wasn't as good, and the little guy hit the rocks a little bit, kind of drifted off into the water. So I never saw that one again. But that thing got us motivated, right? So we decided, okay, let's walk up this mountain, right? And now this is Alberta. This is still bear country. Now we were a little bit scared of bears, and let me back up. Like the day before, we were at one of the towns in there, and my buddy's like, hey man, we should get bear spray. I'm like, nah, that's a scam, man. We don't need bear spray. Like I was also cheap on money. I'm like, the bear spray's not gonna work, right? So my buddy's like about 5'10", right? I'm 6 feet. So we walk into one of the other stores, and it had a skeleton of a bear in there. Skeleton is fucking huge, like 1,000,000 feet. I don't know what, it was huge, right? So I turn around to my friend. I'm like, hey, let's say we buy this bear spray. You want to tell me that if this thing comes at you, you're going to stand there and spray this and hope for it to run away? That's not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is going to spray out your ass, and we're going to run away and die, because bears are faster than humans. Anyway, we buy the bear spray, and the next day we're going up this mountain. They told us to yell and scream just in case, to get the bears not to come. We were lucky enough to not encounter any bears that day. But at the top of the hill, we had a couple, right? So this couple, first of all, beautiful lake, blue water, calm water, and super clear. You can actually see the fish swimming in there. And homeboy is there with his wife. She's kind of got this little garden that she's built there from rocks. And this dude is like casting, bringing back a fish, casting, but every cast he brings back a fish. We're like, damn, this dude's like Jesus, like teach us how to get this fish. So he taught us. He was kind enough to teach us. He supposed us to build this little fort and catch the biggest fish, and whatever the big fish is you have at the end of the day, you take back, right? So again, because we only had one rod, right? My buddy's fishing, so one's casting, one's handling the fish. So I was building the fort. He got the first fish. We take the first fish up. Fort's not ready, so I throw it on the ground. So we throw it on the ground, and I'm still building the fort. All of a sudden, I noticed he's still casting. The fish that we threw on the ground is not dead. He starts flapping back into the water. Now, at this point, I don't know if you've seen the second Rambo, but the part where Sylvester Stallone has all this mud and is hidden in mud, that's what the fish looks like. Now, he'd gone flapped himself up and over. He's all full of mud, but he's coming towards this water. And I'm like, no, you ain't. So I grabbed this fish, and I try to kill it. I got nothing on me because we didn't come prepared, right? So I said, okay, let me use this rock to break this fish. So I break the fish. I think he's dead, still alive. Now, I don't know what to do with this anymore. The fish is not that small, but it's also not that big, and it's not really dying. Every time my friend turns around from casting, he sees me at a different position with the fish. One time with my hand with the rock over the fish. The next time he turns around, he sees me grab the fish by the tail and try to break the fish against the bigger rock. That also does not work. For some cool reason, this thing lost an eye, but it survived. We decided to call Rambo fish further. Then we asked the other guy what he did. So the guy with the wife gave us a little club. We ended up clubbing the fish. And that finally killed Rambo. So then we learned how to make fish tacos. And that was the end.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right. Elmer, he's got some good stories. So you're up there, you're fishing with a pink fishing rod. So I think, is your friend like military too? You guys are both, like, you both know martial arts. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think there's a bit of a dichotomy there. Like, you know, you're both like, we're two buff guys and we've got this like bright. So can you imagine, like, you know, there's a bit of a dichotomy there. It's kind of a visually interesting image. So, you know, and then the first time you're going, like, the fish are laughing at us, you know, and then it gets a little confusing. Then you guys are fighting. Is it just because the fish are laughing at you? Like, I get a little confused.
Yeah. Okay.
There.
I think I missed but this is what happens, and it happened last time too. Like, if I have more stuff written, but when I skip lines, I tend to not go back at them, and I tend to just not remember all the stuff I had in there. So sometimes you miss context. So I will address this point. Yes.
Okay. And then I like the Instagram with the fish. That part was really funny. You know, you could kind of like pose like, or, you know, like however you want to pose, like how you would an Instagram. You know, we had, you know, we were on TikTok and, you know, whatever was playing on the background, you know, like making it very exciting, your Instagram photo shoot with the tiny fish. So I like that. The tuna can, I feel like there's room for, like, with the being in a, you know, in prison, but you didn't get it. But I feel like there's just like a little bit, I don't know, maybe just a little bit of focus on that a little bit. This is just from my opinion. And there, I feel like there's just like a little bit of like kind of some jokes maybe that could have come out of that part. And then the last part with the fish and like you clubbing it to death and all this stuff, it's very like a sketch that you see on SNL, you know, where you I looked back and then he was clubbing the fish, and I looked back and he was throwing the fish against the wall, and so that part seemed like a very sketch So that's kind of my feedback. Luke, do you have any feedback for Eleanor?
Yeah, I feel Eleanor. I think that generally, I felt like it would be good if we understood. And I think that's Alisha was saying that a little bit. Like off the top, who are you guys, right? Because when you said that we live in a world today, like, great, you're two guys walking around with pink. Like, who gives a shit, you know? Like, who cares? You know what I mean? Like in 2020, I don't think we envision like color has anything to do with like being masculine, right? But I mean, but if you explain that you're backwards guys from like you have 1930s thinking, then that explain to us why you have an issue with that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're tough, you know? Like now I'm fucking like, because then you can compare it to things. You can be like, hey, I'm not Paris Hilton going fucking fishing. I'm like, you know, I'm Rambo or I'm whoever. I want to be that guy. Do you know what I mean? Like if you explain to us like where you're coming from, like your mindset, then it offsets, it creates that juxtaposition. But just saying that, and I understand like for you, you're already thinking that because you and your buddy are kind of like, yeah, we're tough guys. Like I think Alisha was kind of alluding to that. I feel throughout it, it's a little bit tricky to understand who's the target or who are we laughing at? Are we laughing at you guys? Because at the end, when you're killing the fish, it's pretty brutal. Like you track him down like a fucking killer. You know what I mean? Like, like it's not like you're not the hero of the story at the end. You know what I mean? Like the fish is the hero of that part of the story, anyways. But at the beginning, you're kind of the hero, right? Because you don't have any stuff. You don't know how to fish. Some guy's trying to teach you. And so we're like, oh, great. This is going to be a story about how they kind of learn how to fish. Instead, it's a story about how you learn how to hunt down a poor fish on a fucking like dirt and murdered him. You know what I mean? Like it kind of got twisted around on us a little bit. So I think if you're more clear, and I think maybe you have to be picky about some parts you just don't leave in. Because I mean, I understand you're telling like a real life story, but that's where I think this whole concept of fake news comes from, because when you're telling a story and you want to make a certain point, yes, you have to leave out certain parts. And then that, of course, distorts reality. But, you know, in entertainment, that's kind of like part of the deal, right? Which news is not supposed to be, obviously. But in this case, I think that you have to leave out certain parts of the story in order to make the point. I think, one small point. I think you need a lot more specifics. What were you at? What's your friend's name? When also like when I know that you're doing it to exaggerate, but I think in that case it's not a good exaggeration. Like the bear is not 1,000,000 feet high. The bear is 8 feet and you're only 6 feet. Like then we understand. Or the bear is 12 feet. You know what I mean? Like maybe you can exaggerate that, but I think you need to be very specific on a certain number, because it makes us understand now. Like, oh wow, holy shit, a bear is 14 feet tall. Holy fuck! Like, you know what I mean? The guy's only 6 feet. Yeah, he's gonna get just like murdered. You know what I mean? Like he's got no chance. You know. Not that we think you have a chance with a bear anyways, but
yeah.
But I'm just saying, I think that, and it needs to be specific. Like you were at this lake, you know what I mean? It took you like, I think also you have to make it like, it took you like 8 hours to drive to the place. Like what raises the stakes in the story, right? Like if you're the hero and you're trying to learn how to fish, you have no idea what you're doing. And anyways, whatever. So yeah, I'm going on and on. But that's the idea, right? I think that you have to figure out how you can raise the stakes, but before you figure that out, is like, what are you raising the stakes on and who? Like, I think you can paint yourself as being like, hey man, we're just two guys trying, like somebody gave you an idea. Maybe like, I think it would be good to be like, they made it sound so simple. You just go out, you throw it in, boom, you know, you put on the fucking lure and it's easy. Do you know what I mean? Like if that's how to make it sound to you and you get out there and it's not like that, you're like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, geez, this is difficult. You know what I mean? Like, this is really difficult. And maybe if you explain it where you're so rattled at the end, and then you have to make a comment on yourself, right? If you're acting so like berserk, like weird, where you're like hunting down a dead fish on a fucking like, then you got to explain, because you're telling the story like after the fact, right? So you're like, my God, I just lost my mind. You know, it's like I was in Vietnam. I'm like hunting down a fucking poor fish. I got the biggest rock I can find. You know, like you're just yelling, you know, like you've lost your mind if that's what's happened, you know? Anyways. Those are my notes.
Yeah. I kind of like a lot of these things is, for me, it's I'm learning what to put in and put out and leave out. Like I've told this before with like all the details, and I guess I didn't think about it from the perspective of how you framed it, of like thinking about who the hero is, thinking about who the victim is, like, and there are stuff like I was trying to kill it quick, so to let it like, you know, have like a quick honorable death, but I didn't explain it well. And
well,
like,
and you even
yeah,
called
this is-
him Rambo. You even called him Rambo, and then you were like, and then we were trying to kill Rambo, which kind of
Yeah, why is the fish rainbow?
which kind of reiterates the
Yeah,
fact that
yeah.
he's the hero, and you're
Maybe he's Moby Dick or you know, the white whale or
Yeah.
something.
But then, but if I can reframe it from the top, I never thought about this from like reframing it from the top, from the fish's perspective, because
But also,
I
like,
could probably, yeah,
I felt like there was some inconsistency, right? If you got really tiny fish and you want big fish, then you're not taking pictures and you're proud of yourself. Like, I understand that in life, people are like that, and they're so inconsistent because they're trying to be funny, and people are doing all these inconsistent things and whatever, who cares? But when you're doing this kind of piece, it needs to be consistent. Like if you want really big fish and then you get little fish, you're fucking pissed off and you throw them back in, I guess, or whatever, right? You're not taking pictures of them to show off to people.
mm-hmm.
You know, or maybe it's like you're so excited that you got anything. Like, what was your frame of mind at that point, right? Like, if there's a shift in how your thinking is, then it makes sense that you took a picture with them. But you'd have to explain that to us. That's all.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
all
I
right.
don't know why, but just to go off of what Luke just said, because I think like this. I think like if you're gonna flip it like that and flip perspective about the little fish, and you can, you know, add in, you know, I prefer to have, you know, caught a little fish, because I think people who catch the big fishes are compensating for something.
Mm.
So that could be a joke in itself about how, you know, if you got a little fish, you probably got a big dick. You know, but that's just my comedy. I thought, like, once again, I feel like I just called Elmer on the phone, and we just had a conversation on the phone. That's what your comedy feels like to me. Like, you're just telling me about your day, or like a story that you had experienced, and we're just having a conversation, which is cool, because you can have those conversations with the audience, you know, like that. But I think it's all about the setup, and once again, not just train of thought, but actually knowing where the laugh will be. Because that's what I think some comedians don't think about that enough. Because like, we could tell a story and the story seems like interesting enough to us, but we're comedians, so we're here to make people laugh. So where are the moments in the story that you think, if you were in the audience, you would actually laugh at? Rather than it just being a storytelling, is where I think that'd be good. You could just mark it down. I don't know if you're a writer, if you write your jokes, or if you just, you know, think a concept. I'm a concept queen, so I don't really write my jokes down as much. I just think of a concept and go off of it. But yeah, mark down where you think people will laugh at. If you're looking at it, you're like, nobody's laughing at any of this, is just really interesting, then is that comedy or is that storytelling? So just thinking about that difference. I took your whole set, just based off of the two put together, and I just gave you a whole different personality, because that's what I do when I listen to these things. So I took like the Jimmy from South Park perspective. It is like, you know, maybe you can just like grab the audience, like, yes, I'm telling you a story, you know, about the situation I had, you know, let me tell you, you know, and then you're going like, right. And then we tried to chase this fish. And then we went on the street. Are you with me? Are you with me? You know, so maybe just adding, you know, some people can add a good story, or some people can add a good joke. And some people just add good personality. They can literally say anything and be like, right? And people be like, okay. So I think you can make your personality the comedy and not the story. Because honestly, the story isn't super interesting. Yeah. But if you make your personality the story, and you telling the story from your perspective and your personality, I think it would amp it up a bit. Because the writing itself, you want to add something to it. And I think if you could just take your personality or add something, even a catch line. I mean, some people love catch lines, some people don't. I love a good catch line where you're like, hey, read me here. Or, like things like that where you bring the audience with you and it's something that they can remember you for. Like Dion Cole, he does this thing where he's like, I'm about to get up here. I'm about to tell you guys some jokes. They could land, they could not land, but fuck it, I don't live here, so let's go. And he just pulls out the notebook and starts to read the joke. And like one of his jokes is like, do you have to pray over leftovers? Because I prayed over these the first time. Do I need to go back to God and ask for another blessing? Things like that. And then if people laugh, he'll mark it off like, that was a good joke. So that's like a gimmick thing where he's like, this is what people know him for. This is like, so I think you just need to find the thing that people will know you for if you're going to tell stories, or add more jokes to the stories.
I think a good exercise would be give yourself a time limit. So like, just say this story can only be 2 minutes and just put all the funny stuff within 2 minutes. And I think you'll be able to streamline some of the stuff. So I think just giving yourself a couple of little writing exercises would help you with the type of comedy that you're doing. So sound good?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm like, I wrote down every single thing you said, both because these are all exercises, right? Flipping the script, flipping the perspective, adding like just cutting down, like noting where people would not really are supposed to laugh, but what would be funny about this, and then the time limit.
Yeah. So I think
appreciate
you got some good stuff. I know her internet went out. I think we'll just wait like 1 minute and just kind of see if she comes back.
I was gonna my nickname for her is Speaks. I'm calling her. Where's Speaks? Good old Speaks.
Speaks is good too.
Yeah.
Is she logging back in? Did she send you a message? Speaks.
Let's see. I don't see her.
Eleanor, where'd you say you were calling from?
Toronto.
Oh, you're in Toronto as well. Okay, I'm in Toronto.
We're the neighbors.
Yeah, what part of Toronto are you in?
Right.
Summerhill.
All right, am I back?
Okay, cool.
You're back.
Oh my God, I hate it here. Some people say the freaks come out at night. I say my internet goes out at night. Every time.
Speaks all of a sudden.
It's terrible.
Where are you living at?
I'm in Detroit.
In Detroit? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Motor City. So I don't know what it is, but like on my computer, the internet goes out after a certain time. It's like it timed out on me. I'm gonna have to get a new a new router or something. But it seems like I always have this issue. Like I'll be making a good ass point too, just like the one before, and that bitch will just go out on me.
Yep.
It's like you're giving out too many gems, bitch. Keep them for yourself.
Just got a minute limit on your Wi-Fi.
I mean, yeah, I feel like I have one of those prepaid phones.
But is it your computer telling you like, hey, this is?
It's the Wi-Fi for sure. It's got that little dinosaur that says no internet.
Maybe your neighbors are stealing it somehow.
Clearly,
right.
On an open device.
All right. I think, do we have any more notes for Elder? No, we good to move on? All right. Visionary Vish, what do you got for us?
Speaks.
Well, good to see you guys again. I'm back because my internet wants to act right again. I don't understand what's going on with the internet. It just feels like internet knows when you are on a roll and it just says, fuck you. And that's what I got from that. But let's get it going. So Black people are conspiracy theorists. I don't know if you guys know this, but 2020 was a year of conspiracies. You know, we had conspiracies coming from every direction, vaccine conspiracies. You know, Trump came out with a new conspiracy every other day. And I decided I didn't want to be left out. So I created some conspiracies of my own. My conspiracy is that, somebody had to know that this shit was going to hit the fan in 2020. There's no way about it. And I think the people who knew were the people who created the names for the generations. Did you guys ever think about that? Of course not. That's why I'm here for you. So we'll start with the baby boomers because they're the ones who are still alive, probably. So we have the baby boomers in their generation. I think it had to be a baby boomer that created the conspiracy of the XYZ generations. But the baby boomers came out and they were like, fuck all of you all. Nobody else is going to be great. Let's start counting this bitch down. So then they came out with the Generation X, right? Generation X, Generation X. All of them living their lives, smoking weed, getting high, doing crack. And they were having a good time. And they were just living their lives. Nobody knew it was coming. Nobody knew the world was about to change. But then came 1999. And
God damn.
Can you guys still hear me?
No, you were just about to put that good point on.
God damn it. So Prince comes along and he gives us the greatest song ever, which is, 1999. They said 2000, party over, oops, out of time. We really thought we were going to die in 1999, because of the millennium coming. And of course, the internet was going to cause the planes to drop out the fucking sky. So me and my mom were in our basement with buckets of water and water bottles and food containers and all type of shit, dancing to Prince, ready to die at the stroke of midnight in 1999. Nobody thought that in 2020, but we thought that in 1999. So, that spurred my Y2K generation, which is me. I'm a millennial. Surprise, surprise. Hello, hey. I'm a millennial. We're entitled. We love everybody. We think we know everything. All that good jazz. And the millennials, we were running things. We were going and we were doing things different. We weren't like the baby boomers or the Generation Xers. We were out here making moves and making decisions and doing all our shit. And then it had to come the next generation, which is the Z generation. Okay? If we thought we knew everything, these little assholes, they feel like we just completely fucked it up, which is honestly true. But this Z generation, they're just the worst, But all of you didn't notice when I marked down each generation that we were actually going down the end of the fucking alphabet, okay? We really went from X, Y, to Z, okay? This is where the conspiracy comes from, people. Clearly, they knew that we were going to end the fucking world on the Z generation because that's where they ended the generational gap in the names. But this is what you guys don't know. And I want to blow your minds, just shock your minds just a bit. Get ready. Generation Z is not the last generation. Y'all not ready for this? Are you ready for this? No. The actual last generation, boys and girls, are ages 1 through 7, and they are called what? Generation Alpha. I'm going to say that again. Generation Alpha. Now, for those little kids that live under a rock or didn't get to read as a child, Alpha means the beginning, okay? The beginning. And in the beginning, there was Alpha. So y'all don't see that? Y'all don't see that? They literally said that all the generations were going to fuck it up so bad that we have to restart the world at Alpha. Mind blown, okay? And I don't get where they're coming from because they're literally trying to say that the baby boomers and Generation X and my generation, Y2K, and the zillennial generation and all the generations that came before us, we must have really fucked it up. I mean, we probably just caused all type of damage to the community and the climate. We probably just elected the most stupid, idiotic president known to man. We just totally fucked everything up. Tekashi 6ix9ine is a thing. All these things that they say we're going to do. Clearly, we're just fucking the world up. I mean, whatever. Maybe they were right. So, on behalf of my generation, the millennials, we apologize. Generation Alpha, please take the ship, okay? Every end of the world movie ends with the ship floating off into the daylight with The Last of Us. So please take us off, recreate, and do it anew, because we really fucked this up, people. Please, Generation Alpha, save us. That's what I said.
All right. Very good.
Wait, phone claps now. The fuck what I gotta do?
So I really liked the beginning. You were like, I don't know if you know this, but Black people believe in conspiracy theories. And then I think kind of going from there, like, Y2K and, this is what happened with me, my mom, and like some of the, like, going conspiracy theories, and then going into, the generations, like, these are the conspiracy theories, and then boomers and Gen X, Y, and Z.
The countdown. Yeah.
So I think that would kind of make a stronger point to the story. I feel like, there's a focus on, generations, and maybe like they're also the name of hurricanes. So like Gen Z is like kind of like this type of hurricane, or that's the name of a hurricane.
It is?
It's not. It's just like hurricanes have names.
I was like, shit, I thought all the hurricanes were named after women.
Gen Z is like this hurricane or whatever. I don't know. Maybe that's too abstract in my mind. I don't know. And then, maybe something about the Mayan calendar, and that kind of like how maybe you are right, like maybe the Mayans were right, and like Gen Alpha, something about the Mayans in there. And then I don't know, what is Tekashi 6ix9ine? I don't know what that is. I don't know what it is.
You don't want to know.
I'm not going to introduce you to that. No, thank you. You do your own Googles on that.
I will. I'm just like, I don't know.
He's a terrible rapper. Like, yeah. He's a troll. He's an internet troll who became super famous, just trolling people and being an asshole. And then he went to jail and snitched on everybody, came out and then trolled people again. Like, it's great.
Okay, I'll do my own research. It's cool. Yeah. But I was just like, what's
I was just glad most of the people laughed. I was like, oh, they know what it is.
Don't get up. Don't try to listen to his lyrics though. Like, there's nothing in there for you. Like, there's no
message with the sticky you'll never get it.
It's fine. Yeah. So that's kind of like my notes, just like kind of playing off of the Gen Z and how dangerous they are, I guess, like each generation, what it's, I like the name.
Fucked it up.
So anybody else with any other notes?
Yeah, I've got some notes. I'm going to say this as a white man, that that I love me some good black versus white, or black versus everyone else sort of stuff. But only when people really super lean into it. You know what I mean? And I felt like in this case here, like I felt like you could do one or two things, right? You could either talk about it more, like for example, I wanted to know, like, what conspiracies do black people believe in that white people don't, or non, like not white and black, but like black people believe in these specific ones, like I don't know, like, and maybe something like.
Do you know about the hand itch?
The hand itch?
No, that's a black thing. So black people believe that if your hand is itching, it means you're about to come into some money.
Huh.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I think you gotta dive into those and explain those, and then maybe you even have some personal, like maybe there's your father believes in some of them, your grandfather, or some relatives, whatever, and things have happened to them and they don't make any sense, but whatever.
Just broke my fan. What the fuck?
What?
Bullshit.
I think too, you said that you were going to talk about your various theories, but you really only talked about one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. But so maybe you don't need to say that, because I think it's a fun theory, right? To say like, listen, man, this is the theory of all theories, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? because otherwise we're waiting for like, oh, there's another one coming, but there isn't, which is fine. I don't think you need another one necessarily.
Okay.
And then I like the idea that you were talking about the alphabet, like XYZ. I think that just for clarity, I think that, or for simplicity for people, like leaving out baby boomers and millennials, just going like, think about it, man. XYZ, like what the fuck, man? They started at the end of the alphabet. Like what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? Like why? You know, and I think you should attribute it directly to the people who came up with that shit. Like who comes up with that? Like I don't know where that's like where that starts, but someone, whoever that is, that's who I think you should blame. Those people who named them, they knew it was gonna be the end. Those fuckers, they knew. Like why did they start at the end of the alphabet? Like why didn't they start on F? Like it's just random. So we thought. But maybe not. You know what I mean? Like it's obviously not random. I like the Y2K reference as well. And it was I thought
it's because you're listening to Prince in the 90s. I know you did.
Like that song. That's a great song. The other thing is I think that when you talk about the XYZ, I think that you can spend some time reacting to that and how fucked up it is, and you can really go on some tangents. You can make a meal out of it before you talk about Generation Alpha. I think you've earned that that you could just live in that for a while. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, what about this and this? Maybe you're questioning other things. You know what I mean? Like, what about this thing? Like, how come this is like this? And how come that came up? And I don't know.
Tragedies that happen in each generation.
Yeah, or maybe related to like how black people got screwed at certain times and certain ways. Like, you know what I was saying when it first happened? I was like, why did Kobe die in February? Everything fucking was okay in February. Kobe died.
Conspiracy theory.
A month later, the fucking world falls apart. Kobe's dead. What about that? You know what I mean? Like, I
believe it.
You know what I mean? Like he was the pin.
Now you're a black conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that maybe it's something like that. Like I think you can make a meal out of it. I think you've earned it at that point. You know what I mean? Before you move on to the Generation Alpha, because I think that's a good bridge, obviously, to get there. But anyways, I think it's a good bridge. It would be a lot of fun for you to sort of like bring out all this other stuff that's completely unrelated, and you can almost throw anything at the wall at that point because you've created this environment where anything is possible, right? So you could almost say like Prince, how come he changed his name to like a symbol? Did he know something? He must have. You know, I don't know. Whatever. Anyways.
Yeah. I like that. It's crazy because I do know the story of why Prince changed his name.
I know, but you could almost, I'm just saying, like, you could almost say anything that's related to like black people, right? Like, and anything, you could go even back in time, right? Like, how come every year in the baseball they celebrate Jackie Robinson? Like, why are they doing that? What about Satchel Paige? He was a black player that played in the major leagues, came from the Negro League. What about that guy? You know, whatever, right? Like it could be anything.
Well, why is Black History Month during the shortest month of the year?
Exactly. It can be anything. Anyways, those are my notes.
Thank you. I know you guys can hear me, but I'm frozen.
No,
you're not frozen now. No.
Oh.
You're frozen to you.
See, I changed to go to my phone because my internet was not working well. And I have my phone on the house's Wi-Fi. So what the fuck is that? So it's just as bad as internet connection because it's connected to the fucking Wi-Fi. Stupid.
Maybe there's conspiracy there.
Yeah, I just can't get away from it.
So I think Luke has a good point where it's like you're kind of telling a secret, you know, hey, come over here, like doing kind of like as your conspiracies, kind of being that like, hey, kind of like only the whole audience, you're doing that to the whole audience because your whole thing is about a conspiracy theories. Eleanor, you got any response?
I got a few notes. First of all, I like you keep kind of interweaving between music and your comedy, both in terms of how you speak, you bring the references, you clap and all this kind of stuff that kind of creates a rhythm. right? So you kind of, I see that you're like going in and out, using that rhythm to your advantage, like speeding up, slowing down, actually literally like giving yourself like a rhythm to go on, which is cool. I wrote down a conspiracy that it's like boomers, they work their whole lives and now they're not going to get a pension ever because it all goes to the bank. And this is kind of a way for them to, but something, it's too dark. Like something has to be funny added to it because it's nasty. Like it's just nothing funny about that. It's just sad. Yeah, why the last letter? And then you're building up the alpha generation, and then you can warn them. You're like, just watch out for the omega generations because those are the ones that are gonna fuck you up.
I like that.
And then you can also say, well, now we're gonna all put our hopes in the alpha generations, and they can save us if they can get off the unboxing the toys and the TikTok videos. If they can wean off that, then we might be okay. Yeah,
That's
those are
good.
the points I had on those.
And of course, the Omega generation is going to be the computers.
Yeah,
the droids. It's when the droids take over.
This AI. All right. All right, guys. Any more response for Vish, your stuff?
No, we're good. I'm good.
All right. All right, guys. We are coming down to my set, which is the last set of the night. So, yeah, guys, I graduated with a Bachelor of Arts degree. So that means I am professionally able to steam milk. Yeah. Would you like an extra shot with that? Is my catchphrase. Yeah, so I ended up moving back home partly because of that. And now I'm working at a job that I hate. And I can tell because every morning when I wake up, I think to myself, I want to die. But then by the afternoon, it changes to, I want to kill. Yeah. Yeah, but I think it's not necessarily the job. It might be me, because I worked in the customer service industry for so long that anytime anyone walks in, my response is this fucking guy, even if it's a woman, this fucking guy, children walk in, these fuckers. Like, I kind of need to maybe find a different career, and that's okay. Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just like 007 has a license to kill, but does that mean he should use it? And does that mean that he wants to use it? Maybe he just wants to secretly be a veterinarian. Who knows? Just because I'm a librarian and I have a license to tell people to be quiet doesn't mean that's what I want to be doing. I'd rather not be doing that. That's kind of that. I wrote a poem the other day, which is very exciting because I haven't written a poem since high school. And I was a very different person then. Like when in high school, I had eyeliner so thick around my eyes that I got the nickname Raccoon. It wasn't, it didn't have anything to do with the fact that I also had rabies. So, yeah, so my poetry was very different back then. Everything was shattered and broken and, kind of like Nietzsche-esque, where I was like, I looked into the abyss and I winked. Like, who did I think I was? But my poetry now is a little different. So I'm just going to read the poem that I wrote. Bread, eggs, tampon. Now that I'm looking at it, it's just a grocery list. And again, I can't even believe it. My face is so red. I am so not embarrassed. It's actually the rosacea. I'm just going to move on. If you are ever bugged by someone who wants to get your number, I just have a little pro tip for you. So if somebody's like, give me your number, like here's something you could do, you'd be like, oh sure, I'll give you my number. Let me put it in your phone, and they will give it to you, a $900 piece of technology, just so you can give them your number. So what you do instead of punching in your number is you replace your name with the word mom, and then 20 minutes later, start hysterically laughing as you think about the look on that guy's mom's face when she receives a dick pic from her own son.
It's good.
Yep. Yep. And then alternatively, you could start laughing because you actually replace the word dad with your name. Can you imagine like his dad receiving a dick pic and his response being, mine's bigger? During COVID, I've been reading a lot of romance novels, but the one that I will not read are Christian romance novels, because I feel like Jesus doesn't have any place in the bedroom. It kind of ruins the mood. Really, the only place that God has in the bedroom is when you're finishing. So, yeah, I'm going to do one impression for you. This is my impression of a hero, a saint from a little known country called France. This is my impression of Joan of Arc. Bonjour. Huh? Nailed it. That was so good. I dare you to tell the difference. I'm Alisha Rayne. Thanks.
Cool.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you. Yeah, if there's any response, I stumbled over some stuff, and that's okay.
I was gonna say, okay, so you went with like the BA, the description of the whipping the milk. That was good. I like that. And then you could say like, oh, pandemic happened. I was not essential anymore, so I found something else to do. I like that how you did the I want to die, I want to kill. Like compared to how I did it, it's completely different. I can see what you guys are talking about with like the building it up, why, and then like the progression of how it came to be to that stage, right? 007 clearly doesn't need any customer etiquette, right? Because you're not really gonna call his manager. It's not gonna happen. And then the Jesus in the bedroom, the "come on to me" phrase from the Bible, but I don't know if you want to put that in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like the reaction, Alicia.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of religious jokes, so.
Yeah, it's up to you. It's up to how you want it. It just popped up in my head, like.
I wanted to say this. I feel like it's interesting. Visionary Speaks was saying earlier that she thinks of a character for people. It's interesting. I kind of don't compare people like that, but I think of like the point of view in a sense. And I feel like I like it when you're dumb, and I want you to be more dumb. And I feel like you're inconsistently smart. Do you know what I mean? Like sometimes you're really dumb, and then you're smarter than that level of dumbness. And I want you to be more dumb. I want you to go back and be dumb. Like, for example, when like you do your impressions, they're so dumb, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's great. Like, it's funny. And then when you talked about the poem, like it was dumb and then it got smart. And I was so disappointed when it got smart because you were aware of what it was. Do you know what I mean? I don't want you to be aware because you shit on your own joke, because you said I wrote a poem, and then you started reading it, and you were like, oh, wait a minute, this is the I don't want you to know it's a grocery list. I want you to say I call it grocery list. You know,
okay, I see that.
Say something like, and then you go through it all, and you're like, but then the thing is, because you're so dumb, you don't just read 4 of them. You read like 15 of them. You know what I mean? And at the end, you're like, pick up Marlene from the drugstore. Like, you know.
Oh,
like,
that's hilarious. If I read the whole list.
But you even say more dumb things about things like, pick out cart that's working or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're so dumb, you know what I mean? Like, you've even made those kind of notes for yourself, like things, like activities that you would have at the grocery store, or like get gas, get it at the cheapest one, not the more expensive. Stupid. I'm so stupid paying more, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, it could literally be anything, but just the more dumb. I want you to be dumb. Because you deliver it well. It's well done. I think that the BA thing is on the verge of being like hacky. I hear it so much, you know what I mean? And I mean, my first comment was thinking was like, I want to know specifically a BA in what, because they're not all made equal, right? Like, I mean, a BA, because some of those BAs do lead to something and others don't, right? Like, if it's in philosophy, it's different than if it's in physics, probably, or maybe not. But the thing is, which one is yours in? But I think it's borderline hacky, because it's kind of like, I know what you're getting at, is like, well, I didn't get a good degree or whatever. Now I'm working as a barista. It's kind of like typical sort of commentary. But to what Speaks was saying earlier, that's my nickname for you. But anyways, what Speaks was saying earlier, that I think that if you take a different angle to it and you heighten it, again, if you're super dumb, that's different, because that's not typically done. Like, if you embrace how dumb you are, like maybe you enjoy, you're like, this is great. I thought I was gonna do something really big in life, but I'm so happy that, you know what I mean? Like, you're happy about it because you're dumb. Anyways, I don't know. The other thing is, when you talked about, you said, I want to die, and then in the afternoon, like, I want to kill. I thought at night, I want to die and kill. I really understand murder suicide now, something like that. Like, I think that's like the third, and it's kind of like just a combination. I didn't really understand the how you putting your number and saying it's mom. How does his mom end up with a dick pic?
Because guys always send dick pics. So
You put your name instead of mom. You erase the word mom and you put your name. So it's the same phone number.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if you have the phone for that long.
You take his mom's name out and put your name over his mom's name.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think I don't know. I think that's a bit.
It's really long, and I was just like, does it work? Which is why I wanted to do it tonight.
It doesn't work in the sense that, I mean, let's just say this: if people are in a club and they're drunk, and you're at a comedy club and you're telling it, people are laughing hysterically. There's no question. But if people are less and they're listening the way we are, you're kind of like, wait a minute, how much time does she have the phone? You know what I mean?
You guys aren't drunk? What the fuck?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, because I think that the math doesn't add up, like, potentially, right? But anyways, I think the Christian romance stuff, I think that there's more to it. Again, I want you to be super dumb. I want you to like it. I want you to like things that typically people don't like, because that's how dumb people are, obviously. You know what I mean?
Obviously.
Are they?
Christian romance. Amazing.
Obviously, Alisha.
Are they a full person? No.
No, they're dumb.
They're just dumb.
Dumb honkies.
Exactly. Those are honkies. Just be more dumb. Being dumb is great. Yeah, being dumb is great. I'm dumb excited. I'm dumb too. We're all a bit dumb, you know?
I think dumb.
Yeah, I think when you're like a little bit more clever, it takes away from your sort of natural delivery. Because I think at the end of the day, like, there's a lot to be said. Like, it's interesting because you said early on that you do the impressions and they're always the same. That's at the core of your sort of your humor, right? That's your thing. And not the impressions part, but the fact that it's understatement. We expect you to do something and you give us so much less. We expect you to be at this level of intelligence, yet you're giving us, like, you don't just have a BA, you have a BA in, like, literally the worst possible thing you could have a BA in. I'm not
studies in cinema and media culture. Sure.
or whatever.
No, that's real. That came from a real place.
It's a real,
I felt that.
degree.
Coming from a creative writing major, I felt that.
I mean, that's the degree that you're talking about. So,
but people love that kind of truth, right? If that's what it is. Like, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I always find it surprising when someone's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go into philosophy," and then they get out there like, "There's no jobs." I'm like, "What job did you think you were getting? Like, what path were you following?"
Well, they were thinking they were getting a thinking job.
Well, or they went for philosophy to learn how to
deep
think.
thinking there.
They were deep thinking about that.
but I'm saying, I think that would be great. Like, you could follow that path, you know. Then I think it's not hack at all, right? Because you're so dumb that you believed in it. Because those people that always talk about that stuff, they never talk about that, right? Like, what did you actually believe in? What did you think was going to happen? Like, you were going to study this cinema thing and whatever, and then something was going to happen. Like, you know, I don't know. Maybe there are a lot of paths there. I don't know what they are, but it's an interesting thing to follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Elner, anybody else?
Yeah, I'll go. The Elder already went, didn't he?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got so lost.
I know you got lost.
I overshadowed Elder. Sorry, Elder.
It's that damn dumbness. You just get lost all day. Only Luke could say dumb that many times.
Right.
and not be offensive. Majorly.
Wildly so.
It was only minorly offensive. But yeah, I see what he's saying, and I'll use a different term. I'll call it simplistic. Out of respect for,
I mean, it is something I should lean into a little bit.
I'm not saying
dumb humor. It's dumb humor. Yeah, it's a character. It's a dumb humor about it. An awareness. I thought that, like, I love simplistic comics, like where they just go up there and they say the smallest thing, and it makes you laugh because in your mind you're like, this is so simple. Like, this is so little. It's so small, but you know, they play off of that. So I see you as that type of comic. So I thought about the original joke about the going in and, you know, wanting to kill yourself and doing all this stuff at the job. And I wrote down, you know, the stages of I hate my job grief, you know. So you can go through the stages, you know, you come in with just, you know, a mild irritation. And then, you know, by the lunchtime, it's smack a bitch ideation, you know, ideation of smacking a bitch. You know, towards the, you know, almost the end of the shift, you may want to kill yourself, but then you don't want to give them the satisfaction. So you go to murdering people, you know, the third or fourth stage of grief. And then you finally go home and smoke weed, and that's just fine. And then you come back in Generation Alpha and do it all over again. Acceptance is you going home and smoking weed and saying fuck everything, nothing matters. And then I also I like the poems, the grocery list, of course, that's like a staple of like, oh shit, here's the grocery list. It's not what we thought it was. But I came up with pre-midlife poems, because I don't think you're at midlife right now, so you're probably at pre-midlife. And I don't want to age you or anything or call you dumb. I just want to and do the poem of pre-midlife poems. So I came up with names for them. You could do an ode to Advil. You could also do vibrator vibrations. That would be a good name for a poem. And the last one, of course, everybody knows it, cheesecake fights. You know, that you could just add in. It's just good poem titles to your life. But I always think, like, what would be the title of the poems at this stage of my life? It wouldn't be the same as the angst poems I used to write. It's more so like ode to Advil, or, you know, things like that, or thank God for noise canceling headphones.
Yeah.
Those
yeah, that's
things.
like, what kind of poems would I write? Because I was a person who had dark, you know, eyeliner.
Yeah.
Now I'm a person who has sensible shoes.
Yes. a good shoe is necessary, you know. Ode to kitty cat heels. You know, those type of things. What a good bob cut can give you. You know, that Those type of things. Those are the essentials to poetry these days. But I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, one more dumb. Dumb. You're the best, Luke.
Yeah.
Anything, my thing. I like repeating words a lot.
It was great. The whole time, I'm like, yeah, we're here. We're down this dumb tunnel.
Lots of honks and honkies.
We got the honkies and dumb people.
Yeah.
Oh, and rechards. We didn't forget about that.
Yeah. All right.
And
All right,
black
guys,
stereotypes.
Nothing wrong with being dumb. It's your character, not you. You're smart.
Yeah, no, you're
We get
smart,
it.
girl. You smart.
Yeah, we get it, Luke.
You just act dumb. Just act dumb, girl.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate all the feedback. Thank you so much. Thank you everybody for showing up and having some great material. So Visionary Speaks. She's got a podcast. Just a quick blurb about what you got going on, because I know you got a couple of things going on.
Oh yeah, right now I'm sniffing sensations from this, from this little canister. But yeah, so follow me on Comedian Visionary Speaks. That's on all platforms, honey. That's the Twitter links, that's the YouTubes, that's the IGs, that's the Facebooks. Just follow me there. That's where she is. That's where she'll be. I have a podcast called 2020 Vision Podcast. Shout out to Luke for the 2020 Vision. Was that Elner? How 2020 Vision is getting played out. That was a little bit of both. But yeah, so I made a podcast with that same pun. 2020 Vision Podcast. Also, I'm going to be a host on Up All Night Comedy with Albie Fuller and DP Petty. And I'm just going to be doing great things, you guys. Like Elner, I am a new comic. I started in the pandemic because I saw a need for laughter in a dark space. So I'm excited about 2021. I'm ready to get the fuck out of my house and start giving this judge to the world.
All right. Sounds good. So Luke, you had a couple of things just to kind of remind us.
I got a bunch of things going on, but my tomorrow night on Facebook Live, I got a show that I do. It's called Luke Lindale Does Your Jokes. So I've got 3 comedians. I don't prepare beforehand. I do some material, and then I follow them and I redo their set as best I can. There'll be lots of repeating. I'll be repeating things. I like repeating.
Yes.
My thing. So that's it. It's a lot of fun. Come and check it out. And if you're ever in Toronto,
Elner, are you on the social medias?
What's that?
If you're ever, we missed that last part of Luke.
I did.
He said if you're ever in Toronto, you have free healthcare.
Yeah,
There
exactly.
you go.
If you're ever in Toronto, I produce lots of live shows when the pandemic's over. Obviously,
All
at the
right.
moment, everything's on hold here.
All right,
We're-
Elner, do you have any social medias that we should follow you on?
Nothing interesting so far. Nothing that I use for funny stuff as of yet. Unfortunately.
All
That's going
right.
to change in 2021, Elner. We believe
That's right.
you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yep. Get on one of them and follow us, and then we'll follow you back.
Gonna be
Sounds
inspired
good.
by vision.
Yes.
Yeah. Vision.
2020
Very
vision.
cool. Very
2020
cool.
vision. That's right. That's right.
All right, and I was your host, Alisha Rayne. I am the Saturday night host at the workshop. I'm going to be in the Is It Hot in Here comedy showcase around the middle of the month, and then I've got 2 shows at Boss's Comedy in Sioux Falls, South Dakota at the end of the month, and I will be doing my own showcase January 24th. To kind of practice for that. So follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram, and you'll see all that upcoming information. So thanks so much, everybody, for coming to the workshop, checking us out. We'll see ya. I can
Thank you
push the
for
button.
running
Next